Hello, back again. Where's the eye? Oh, there it is. Oops. Yeah, so welcome to my second book review. This one's pretty cool. I'm really excited about the one I'm gonna do. This book that I'm going to do changed my life. Really kind of taught me how to just have better relationships with myself. Where is the eye in this camera? Oh, sorry. So I recorded the previous video in portrait mode, and then when I was uploading it, I realized that was a mistake because then it has like black bars on the side, and now I realized that I now have to record it in landscape mode. But now it's weird because I want to look up at the camera, but it's not up, it's to the side. You're over here. So anyway, so let me get adjusted to it. Let me come back to earth. So this book, it really changed my life. It was a great book. It taught me how to kind of have conversations with myself. And it is somewhere around here. Okay, here it is, right here. This one. So the book is called Self-Parenting, and it's by John K. Pollard. I don't know if you can see it. I mean, this book is amazing, recommended to me by a therapist, and basically it's a book that teaches you how to have conversations with yourself. I don't know much about the author. I probably should have done better research on it, but the book itself, basically it just stems from the fact that the author says that you have inside of you, in your head, in your brain, which there's a lot of research on this, and a lot of people have different kind of ways of how they really think about it. Anyway, his method is that you have your inner child, and then you also have your inner parent. And basically your inner child is all your wants, like dreams, desires, physical attention, sex, all that. And your inner child feels. Your inner parent is your critic, and it's not more like a critic, but it's the voice the voice of reasoning. It's just like your parents. And the way I understood it, because at the beginning I was a little bit confused, is kind of imagine how when you were little, that same relationship that you had with your mom or your dad is the relationship that you have in your head as you're older. So if you had a mom who was more critical, was saying, don't do that, don't do this, your inner parent is gonna be like that to your inner child. And so this book teaches you how to, when you're having those conversations, how to really pay attention when there is that sort of dialogue in your brain, and you're able to kind of almost pay attention to it and really understand where it's stemming from, so you can then ask yourself the right questions and be able to just have a more pragmatic approach instead of an emotional one, and thus you're able to kind of address what you're feeling in just a more kind of down to earth and just more practical manner. And all is kind of really is based on just having a good relationship with yourself, and that allows you to just have a prosperous life, because nobody wants to live a life where you're just having all these emotions and you don't know how to control them, and you don't know what they mean, and you're feeling sad or angry and you don't know how to overcome that. This book teaches you how to do that, and it even has work at the end. There's all these how-to exercises you can do, and I actually did them all. It takes you about a 2-week process, and you do it each day, and it teaches you how to overcome, or how to pay attention to your inner conversation, so that way when it does happen, because sometimes you're at work, so you're not going to be sitting there paying attention to what you're thinking. So when you're in those situations of high stress, how to realize that you're maybe criticizing or telling yourself, oh, I'm so stupid. That is a critical parent, or saying, oh, I'm such an idiot because you were late to an appointment or you made a mistake. This book teaches you how to do that and how to pay attention to that, and it totally changed my life, and it taught me how to really understand my emotions and really ask myself the right questions to be able to overcome them. I'll do the same thing I did for the other one. You pull up to a chapter, we can do this chapter. dialogue between your inner parent and your inner child. Yeah, so one of the cool things that I learned in this chapter is that when you have conversations with your inner child, because it's very feelings, it's very emotion based, it's very sensitive. Imagine when a kid, just think about it this way, when you're at the grocery store, and your kid sees a gun, like a toy, or sees candy and he wants it, and then the mom says no, or the dad says no, and then the kid starts crying, and there's a bunch of people around, and you're yelling at the kid to, stop crying because he's embarrassing you, and the kid, and the store is like full of people, and the kid still keeps crying. Your inner child is irrational. It doesn't really make sense of certain situations based on logic. It's more so what it feels, and it's that. There's nothing more to it. And so this chapter, it's pretty cool because it teaches you how to open up the dialogue. What happens over time is that our inner child starts getting suppressed because of the type of conversations that we have with ourselves. And I didn't even realize that I was doing it in certain aspects of my life, that I was kind of talking down to myself, and I felt this like void in certain aspects of my life, and I didn't realize why. And it was because my inner child was being suppressed to the point that it didn't feel safe to come out and really say or really feel comfortable in expressing what it wanted and what it needed. And this chapter teaches you how to make it a safe environment for your inner child to come out and like really show itself. And let's say something simple is like, I've studied for 8 hours a day. I really, want to go out and have a drink. And like, instead of your inner parent saying like, oh, you're an alcoholic, you shouldn't drink, last time you did this, saying, okay, well, I understand, like, we should definitely do something fun, or like, saying like, I understand that, I really do get that, we haven't done anything all weekend, but this test is on Monday, we should probably study, and then after we take the test, we can go and have a good time and like maybe go out. So just having those dialogues and being more like a two-way street, as opposed to just kind of suppressing your inner child each and every time. So that was pretty cool. This is one of my favorite chapters, inner conflicts, and it's something that I still struggle, because we get really busy during our day, and life throws a lot of curveballs at us no matter how much we wake up with the right mindset. We get a call, something happens, our car won't start, somebody texts us somebody we don't want to hear, somebody we're talking to doesn't respond to our text, doesn't answer, our parents call us and questions us. There's so many things that happen. And when those things happen, and there's something, when those things happen, a lot of the times it triggers an inner conflict. You might say like, let me use an example, like, from myself, like, I'll use an example that applies to a lot of people. We'll do like, something financial. So we'll do, where it's like, I really want to get this. Let's use a simple example. I really want to get this pair of shoes that I really saw, and then in the back of your mind you're like, but should I really spend that kind of money when I have other goals and other things that I really want to get done, and I really see myself really accomplishing? And then your inner child doesn't really understand those kinds of commitments and saying, oh yeah, we have to pay our apartment or our car or a light bill or a water bill. It just knows what it wants based on if you saw, if you were, shopping or whatnot. So having an inner conflict is having that like push and pull of saying, no, but I want shoes, or I want to buy clothes. And this one's saying, but we shouldn't spend that money. And then having that back and forth. Or even something more relational, like somebody came and said something that really set you off, and then you feeling, hurt, and your inner parent saying like, oh, why do you feel like that? You're always so sensitive, or why? And then your inner child's saying like, that person, and then you have this struggle inside of you, and when an inner struggle happens or inner conflict, it freezes us, it paralyzes us, and it prevents us from moving forward. And I don't know if you watched other of my stories on Instagram, which you can follow me at Leonardo Giovanni. It prevents us from being productive and performing and doing what we need to do with our day. And so this inner conflict, it's the devil. I hate it. And I've gotten to the point that because I read this book and I've done the exercises, I know when I'm in an inner conflict. And it doesn't always have to be something dramatic. It can be something simple, like a client. You really trusted their word, and then they came and switched their game, and then all of a sudden you feel hurt because you really kind of put your heart out there and you were trying to help them from a genuine, it came from a genuine place. Yeah, from like a good place from your heart that you were truly trying to give it your all, and they didn't see that value and they used you. That could be an inner conflict as well. So this chapter teaches you how step one is just to never be critical with your inner child. And it is so fucking hard because I do it all the time, and I find myself like, let's use it as an example. I'll use it as a perfect example. I bite my nails, and I'm fully aware that I do it, and I am totally aware that I need to stop doing it. But sometimes when I'm really stressed, when it comes to work, commitments, people, I catch myself biting my nails, and I know that I shouldn't do it because it's just a bad habit. And what is the first thing that I do? I go, why the hell are you biting your nails? You can just stop that doing right now. Why would you do this? Why do that? Blah, 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 blah. That's being critical. That does not stop me from progressing and evolving. It might stop me from doing it in the moment, but long term, it doesn't make me evolve. A good dialogue would understand that I'm doing it, and a good, communication would say, wow, okay, I understand I'm biting my nails. I know I made it a goal to not do this. I should probably put my nails, my hands out of my mouth and realize that going forward, it doesn't look very nice, and I'm sure people don't, see me and don't really appreciate me putting my nails, my fingers in my mouth. So maybe I should kind of be more self-aware of this and kind of put a stop to it. That is having a good conversation with yourself. And it's hard. It's so hard because it's learned behavior. And I'm not blaming parents. I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, it's just what we learned. It is how we grew up. If our parents raised us that way, that's just the inner voice we're gonna have. And I'm not here to blame, say, oh, it's because of the upbringing. It's just your environment. We're shaped by that. And this chapter definitely teaches you that. I got really excited about that one there for a second. Let me see which other one I can talk about that's not too complex. Okay, and then this one's pretty cool. Yeah, self-parenting, your inner conflict, your future. So the whole goal of the book is just that. The whole goal of the book is not to let your brain go on a rant and start insulting yourself, because what happens is when you start criticizing yourself with your inner parent, you can do it. And I'm sure all of you, and I experience it all the time still because I haven't mastered the skill, that once you criticize yourself enough, you hurt your own feelings and you don't realize you're doing it, but you do it. And so this chapter, inner conflicts, problems with your inner conversations, teaches you and gives you the tools, especially at the end, because there's all these I don't know if you can see it, but there's all these exercises that you can do, and it gives you different scenarios, and it teaches you how to have those proper conversations by asking yourself the right questions. Like if you're upset at work, saying, starting with the physical emotion, what are you feeling? Are you angry? Why are you angry? And just, okay, I'm upset because this coworker said this, and then just saying, okay, why does that make you angry? Because of this. And okay, and acknowledging the fact that your inner child is experiencing that feeling and that emotion, and saying, okay, I understand that, but have you thought that maybe that's just the type of person who they are? It has nothing to do with you. And kind of evolving and growing from that. And it's taught me so much. It's taught me so much how to get to know myself. And at first it was a little bit challenging, because I'll be quite honest, I felt kind of stupid doing it. But now I look back and I attribute my growth, especially this last couple of years, to this book. So recommend it, get it. Self-Parenting by John K. Pollard. Life changer. So thanks, and that's it. I'm done. Time's up.